10th consecutive out.
But his 10th consecutive out came by strikeouts, which I was reading the Globe this morning. It's the first Red Sox pitcher in the expansion era, which I'd never really understood what that is.
Late 60s.
So they said 1961.
Okay, early 60s.
The expansion era. You ever hear baseball referred to it like that?
Yeah, I have, but I never really nailed down the year, obviously.
No, but the hockey has the expansion era, and it went from 6 to 12 in like 1968 or whatever that was, like baseball. All right, anyway, he's the first Red Sox pitcher in the expansion era since 1961 to record each of his first 10 outs with strikeouts. The headline in the Globe said, with Brayan Bello dealing on the mound, Red Sox rally versus A's for 50th win of the season. Sort of portraying the thing as Brayan Bello leading the way.
Yep.
I'm going to make a quick admission to you. I watched last night. I fired up that horrible gouge of a product.
Excellent job by you.
Nesson 360. It just happened to be a finally, between all the off time and screwing around and whatever, I had time to open up the app and watch a Red Sox game. And I got to tell you two things. One, I was bored out of my boobs. And after about 45 minutes, I put on the soccer match because I couldn't take it anymore. And two, I watched Brayan Bello in this outing. I'm like, is this considered good? I didn't think he was good.
He wasn't good.
It took forever. I feel like he was laboring. I feel like he was. Is he? So again, I guess I'm catching up on the Red Sox. Is he like petulant?
Yeah, I would say he is. Yeah, that's part of it. I don't know if I would say quite petulant.
Does he have like a bratty side?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. He's more like a mental case.
So he got annoyed at a call. He got annoyed when a A's batter stepped out, and he was sort of like. He was just sort of like, I don't know how
emotionally unbalanced.
Am I off on this?
No, you're not. At all. This has happened a lot in his last few starts. One thing goes wrong, and it just spirals from there.
Okay.
This has been an ongoing thing.
So I decided to watch the thing. First of all, the pace of play sucked. And 45 minutes into the night, they're in like the second inning. I said, I thought they cleaned this up. I don't know if I can do this. All the time in between pitches, pass balls, wild pitch, the freaking A's guy was a mental case. And so I put on the soccer. But I did sample it. And the sample that I saw, I'm like, Brayan, he's dealing? So you tell me. How should I feel about Brayan Bello?
Okay, here's how you should feel about Brayan Bello. First of all, the story that you cited and the way it was portrayed is backwards. Brayan Bello did not lead the Red Sox to a victory last night. The Red Sox bailed out Brayan Bello because right out of the gate, he got them behind and they scored in the bottom of the first inning and took the game over and then obviously kept scoring. So he dug them a hole early. They got him the lead back. They just kept pouring on runs to the point where, frankly, anybody could have pitched that team to victory last night. And the petulance that you're talking about is what I would call mental fragility, because I think that's what the issue is with Brayan Bello. Now, you want to tell me it's because he's 25 years old or 24 or however old he is now? Fine, maybe he'll grow out of it. Maybe he won't. And so I think there's a bigger story that Bello is sort of the guy that they're hanging their hat on as far as the nucleus and future of the young pitchers in the organization. Remember, Tanner Houck's 28. Okay? Bello is more sort of the next wave. Houck was before him. And Bello, to me, has been a fail. I think he's been bad. He started out okay early on, but he's been bad.
A fail?
Fail. If you ask me how the year has gone for Brayan Bello, my answer is fail. And while you were talking, I was just trying to punch up where he ranks among pitchers in the big leagues in ERA, given the amount of innings, the number of innings he has pitched. He's got to be near the bottom. And I'll see if I can get you an exact number on where he ranks among pitchers with the requisite amount of innings. Okay, here you go. There are 97 pitchers in the big leagues who have thrown 80 innings, okay, because he's not quite eligible for the ERA title. He's 94th out of 97 in ERA among qualifying pitchers.
Yep.
That's horrible.
Yeah, horrible.
So remember, scoring is down. Offense is down. pitching is dominating the league. Tanner Houck has gone to a level where he is now a Cy Young candidate. This kid's ERA is 5.5. He's given up home runs. He's getting hit by lefties. He's given up home runs to righties. I think he's gone backwards. And they gave him a 6-year contract, which is not for big money. But again, which guys are you trying to sign? Are you trying to sign the guys that will take the money, or are you trying to sign the guys that are worth it? Because I would argue you signed Bello, and Tanner Houck is now miles ahead. And I understand there's an age difference. But to me, there are all kinds of questions that come to the surface about how the Red Sox are doing things, and Bello's one of the big ones that's at the center of it. Like,
does Brayan Bello fail, Jimmy Stewart?
Right now, I think he's failing, and he's just been poor. He's a player makes an error, he loses his focus and gives up 7 runs in an inning. This happened a few weeks ago. He's just been bad, and they can't figure it out.
Mike, the game he's talking about was against Toronto.
Sure, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a double play ball. It ended up being scored a hit because the ball was hit to Valdez's left, and it got through into the outfield. Valdez kind of went down on one leg, sort of semi-slide to try to pick it, missed it, it went into the right field. It could have easily been an inning double play. As soon as it got into the outfield, I think a lot of us looked at it and said, look out. And Bello folded up like a freaking table. He completely collapsed and caved in, and Cora ultimately went to get him and pull him out of the game and looked disgusted when he went out there. Cora was pissed after the game still. They gave him a few days to get his head together because it had happened earlier in the year. He pitched better in the next start, which was against the Marlins, but even that one early on was a little dicey, and then he settled in. And then last night he came out and gave up runs in the first inning again, and his offense bailed him out. Frankly, if it were me, I'd send the kid's ass to AAA.
Mark Dondero's in for Big Jim Murray. Let that sink in for a second. Mark Dondero in for Big Jim Murray. You have any thoughts, Mark?
Yes, it is a failure, especially based on the expectations. This guy was hyped to be the next ace, the guy that was finally going to come out of the Red Sox organization. He was going to represent the pitching pipeline and show everybody what they've been doing down there. And he was going to be he was working with Pedro Martinez. And now we're basically debating is he going to be able to stay in the major leagues and contribute to the major league roster, because it was
that bad. Are we talking that bad?
That's what this conversation sounds like.
Okay. Well, yes, that's what this conversation sounds like.
I'd send him to AAA. I'm with Mazz on this one.
It's Felger and Mazz, so of course the conversation sounds like that. I'm asking you what the reality is because I'm just re-engaging on the Red Sox.
I would not rule out them sending him down. I would, because I think Cora is that pissed. I do. And look, the kid's going backwards, Mike.
I mean, I will say, like, his night was totally misleading.
Yes, it was.
Unless you watched, which unfortunately I did start to anyway. He got the win. He went into the 6th inning. He struck out 10. He became the first Red Sox pitcher of the expansion era. Are you listening? To record his first 10 outs via strikeout. But again, if you watch the thing, like, here's just a quick play-by-play. First batter. Okay, so A's batters. Strikeout. Single, double to score a run. Strikeout. Wild pitch, single to score a run. Strikeout. Second inning. Single, wild pitch, strikeout. Walk, strikeout. Double steal, strikeout. Third inning. It just, and it went like this. And oh, by the way, by the time you get to the third inning, the Red Sox are up 11-2. Like, should be just like piece of cake, right? They throw strikes.
Yeah, they bailed him out.
Strikeout. Oh, he struck out the side in the third. Okay, so he did it in the third. In the fourth, single, strikeout, walk, ground out into a force play. There was his first out by anything other than a strikeout. Like, I don't know. It's just a little too all over the place. It's a bad team.
No, and that's what he has been, I would say, all year long. And look, I think there is a bigger thing that Bello sort of represents that is kind of connected to him and isn't. And that is, they gave this guy a contract. They identified him. Okay, they identified him as this guy's part of our future. And they resisted trading him for an established pitcher over the winter. So I look at it and say, what if they got it wrong? What if they could have had an established pitcher let's just say Dylan Cease, not that he's been any great shakes with Jimmy. Where did he end up? San Diego? San Diego. Not that he's been any great shakes with San Diego, but nonetheless, the point is you have to identify the real prospects from the fake prospects. And if you look at this kid's stuff, it's legit. He's got great movement, good velocity. You know what he might not have? The head for it. He might not have the intangibles for it. So again, what went into the evaluation of the player? Was this just another nerd looking at the sheet of data?
Oh, they don't look at the makeup.
Like, I think the kid's got a makeup problem.
Well, it was very subtle last night, the part I was watching, but you could just sort of see it. He just a little, I called him petulant, but just a little outside of himself.
This feels like Eddie Rodriguez 2.0.
And not much went wrong. Like, I just stepped out on him. Or he thought he got squeezed, and he didn't. Even Euclid said that was low. Even Euclid. So, like, he's sort of, like, whining about calls that he didn't get in non-high leverage situations. It just sort of, I don't know. I'm like, I don't think he looked good. But you see 10 strikeouts and all of that, I think it leads you for something else. So we're going to start off talking Red Sox. We're going to talk about Brayan Bello. Is that an issue already out of the chute? At 617-779-0985. They won again. They're 10 games over 500?
10.
Okay, and I know this has been hit on, but I haven't really sort of engaged in this. They're 10 games over 500. They're in the playoffs. They are absolutely onto something. And they're letting the manager walk at the end of the year, and it is another sign that they do not give a crap about this particular team.
And they might not add.
Well, we've been at that.
Likely won't add.
And we can circle back to this. Them adding at the deadline, not adding at the deadline. We've talked that, over and over again. We can continue to. But another sign of neglect. Another sign of we don't care about this particular baseball team is how they're handling the manager and his contract.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Red Sox analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.